welcome to the University Death Pool podcast, where we are tracking the rise and fall of private nonprofit colleges in the U.S. Let's talk.
Exciting, kind of
Wonderful.
a new vibe. We're like in a different.
Yeah, we have a new
moved
studio.
The
That's
studio.
Yeah.
We've moved rooms.
So like lots of things that we want to discuss. I think we had a really good conversation with Dr. Michael Horowitz from the Community Solutions. He's done some
Yes.
awesome things.
Yeah.
I know we're going to share some clips with that, but always a lot to learn with that guy. He's been very successful in bringing in these solutions that are, it's a form of radical cooperation where you do things that might not make sense. Like, for instance, you would share an expense with maybe a competitor because it's actually a form of game theory for those of you who follow that. You follow that, don't you?
Yeah, that's my research project.
Your research project. So,
My like one of my three.
so if we're talking about universities surviving, and one of the things that you pay for is, like, for instance, lawn care, and you have a university across the street that you're competing against, but you decide to share the expense of lawn care, it actually benefits you to help your competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of what Michael Horowitz does, but there's just a ton to learn from him. He's got a really good experience and doing these innovative types of higher education projects that on paper it's like, that seems risky, but somehow he finds a way to make it work. And that's pretty awesome. All right, well, I guess we can do it. And we want to share our conversation with Dr. Michael Horowitz, the Chancellor of the Community Solution and author of the upcoming book, The Community Solution, Radical Cooperation. Welcome, everybody, to the University Death Pool podcast, and we're trying something different today. We have a very, very special guest. We have Dr. Michael Horowitz, who's the Chancellor of the Community Solutions Educational System. And what that does is there are 6 very innovative universities, and I believe it comprises about 15,000 students, if I read right, but just doing some really interesting things. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we're very fortunate to have Dr. Michael Horowitz, who is a leader in this field, especially thinking outside of what we continually consider to be, to our detriment, what we should be doing in higher education. Welcome, Dr. Horowitz.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Jim Long.
Yeah.
If it's okay, we can go on first name basis.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
It's the Community Solution Education System, which I know is a mouthful.
Did I say that wrong?
You said maybe educational, and it's for some reason, maybe because our title is so long, people will say systems or educational, but it's the Community Solution Education System. We started as TCS, which it's hard to get people off of because it's more convenient.
I used to teach there, by the way. Did you know that?
You taught at the Chicago School.
At TCS, yeah.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't have taught at TCS because that was but it's a funny thing. At the Chicago School was the founding institution of the Community Solution. The Community Solution itself doesn't directly educate students. So you would have to have taught at one of our institutions. But that was the whole confusion with TCS, the Chicago School, all of it. So,
I don't blame you at all for trying to distance yourself from me. I would do the same thing for sure. And I wanted to bring up that you've written a book, and we're really excited about it. I've read the reviews are great. It looks like it's going to be available for purchase January of 2026, if that's right.
Yeah, and it's the story to some extent of my journey through higher ed and this mantra that I really believe in, radical cooperation, which is easier said than done. But higher ed is full of silos, redundancy. We were just having a conversation about transfer credits, making it hard for students to succeed. So we're pushing every day to pull our 6 institutions together. There's more you can do together. Since you're a business
Yeah.
professor and thinker, I will tell you that an influential TED Talk, it's still my favorite, Yves Moreau, and he's done two. We can easily find it. Something about how too many rules at work make things worse. But he shows this video of an Olympic relay race, the year that the American women's team had the fastest women in the world. They were racing France, so they just should have won by a lot. And then he shows the tape, and France wins, and they clearly have some kind of energy that they're conveying to each other, how they're passing the baton.
Yeah.
And he's like, no one measures the baton passing, the teamwork, and it is harder to measure individual speeds. That doesn't mean your team will win. So I think higher ed has fractured itself in too many ways, and our system is an attempt to change that perspective. Because you and I had a pre-conversation,
Yeah.
and I told you, institution will say, well, how much money am I going to save? And my answer is, you're going to save nothing, because our point is to help you grow, and we don't. You can't cut your way to greatness, but perhaps we can use your finances more efficiently.
Yeah.
Partner you so that you can start to grow. Because many colleges, right, are lacking the financial systems, the technology systems, the leadership, and here's the other thing: you can't necessarily point to it on a financial statement. If you bring faculty together and higher ed leaders, they generate a lot of great ideas. That's what the rest of business and industry does versus like, no, you stay over there.
Yeah.
And we're just going to figure it all out ourselves.
Well, one of the things I've always felt in higher education as a business person who's been in that world is the easiest thing to say in higher education is no. It's just like, it doesn't fit with our mission. It's not what we've done. It's not what we're good at. And what you're really advocating for is to at least have the conversation to do things that are outside. One of the things that I really want to specifically address is at the University Death Pool. This has been something that we've worked on for a long time, a number of years. And what it was really is tongue in cheek. If there's going to be fewer universities, let's rank the ones and find out which ones are at most peril. And at times that can sound like a negative mission. But why I'm excited about having you here is you bring forward solutions and good ways for universities to not only survive but to thrive. And I listened to one of your podcasts, and it's Radical Cooperation, and it's available on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts and probably other places. And you had a conversation with the previous president of LaSalle University. And the way that that university thought outside the box with the collaboration of LaSalle Village, it blew my mind.
That was remarkable, right? So he's in the place where your maps have shown enormous struggle, right? Oversaturated New England, lots of small colleges did fine for all these years. Many have closed. And he decided to create the reason he and I started talking is he created the similar governance structure that we have at the Community Solution of a sole member entity, if we want to nerd out on the legal lingo. So there's a sole member that has overall governance oversight of LaSalle Village, a retirement community, and the college. And it turns out there's a waiting list to get into this retirement community, and it isn't even an option, it's a requirement that you take X 100 hours of courses. So that's explicit, but then you start to think of all the positive kind of unplanned consequences of young college students interacting with older adults and finding mentors and examples. So again, that's going to be harder to point to on the pro forma, but it has this is the right word, is the hedgehog thing.
Yeah,
It
Collins and yeah,
yeah, it sort of rolls you in to further success and further success.
yeah,
And now you start having classrooms utilized to greater capacity. So it's been striking to me as I interact with other out of the box leaders how hard it is for higher ed to adopt, because it's not as if these are sort of wild schemes, and you do see them. And when I've talked to business people, uh, I even had one guy said, "Well, in higher ed, everyone keeps saying your thing is so remarkable, and this is what we do in business all the time. uh, we create connectivity and scale, and we have local leadership of a company,
yeah,
but it's part of something bigger." So, and by the way, I think it was about 13,500 students last year, not 15,000, just to get the
yeah,
record straight.
yeah.
But yeah.
That it's absolutely phenomenal. And when you talk about what LaSalle is doing and how it's additive, and you had talked about how the students would benefit from having the people in the assisted living situation in the classroom, but also there was indication of how it helped the older students cognitively to be engaged and to be thinking about these things and, enjoying those classes. And when you look at the big struggle that we have in higher education is obviously the enrollment cliff. There's fewer and fewer students. Not only does that fill up the classroom, but that's where we're having the overpopulation. We'll have more people than we have capacity for these assisted living facilities, and I just think it's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, I think in their case it's a retirement community. I'd have to check if they can steer you into assisted living, which I think is
Yeah.
further on the scale. But you're absolutely right. There's we were just talking. It's good that I just came from a finance committee of the Chicago Schools Board, but I mean, there's real estate implications,
Hmm.
right? There's too much real estate, and COVID showed us. Uh, I think by now most institutions, I'm not sure, you can check me on that, how to use online effectively. We just don't need all these buildings. Again, I do like the relational element that the LaSalle president
Yeah.
brought by bringing those groups together, because everybody's too much in their phone and on their devices, and we need those opportunities for conversations. Your map is also underscoring, right, that Western societies are having fewer children. So this
Yeah.
is not only a regional thing; this is a national thing.
Well, and that brings me to something, and really, this is one of these podcasts that I could spend as much time with you as would be permissible, and maybe a little bit more. Um, and I believe that Dr. Sunny Ramaswamy, who he mentioned that uh, it's 1.8 children per family on average, and that is not enough to sustain our current higher education ecosystem. And one of the ways that we had bridged the gap is uh, by opening our doors for some excellent international students. And we benefit here from some really good international students. We've seen lately through a myriad of things where we might be in a situation where those international students are harder to retain and to actually attract. Um,
It's really down, as I'm
yeah,
sure you're feeling, which is really too bad, since we're in a financial podcast. They pay full price.
yeah,
They don't rely on U.S. government
yeah,
loans or support, and they create a real great mix at whatever age they come in. We have a lot of healthcare programs, and historically they've been particularly drawn to those programs.
yeah,
But whether you look around Wichita or any of our communities, there's a lot of foreign trained physicians.
absolutely.
We've tried to pivot at the moment to narrow our focus on Canada and India, as because we're not big even at our scale. We're still relatively small. We can't go everywhere.
Hmm.
So we'll accept students, of course, from anywhere who want to come and are qualified. But we thought, okay, there's some cultural synergy there. English is well spoken. But we're making it harder and harder to do it.
Yeah, it is a touchy topic, and I know that we have a lot of really good international students, but there was, and without naming names, I know personally some international students that have chosen not to come back because they just simply don't feel welcome, and I that makes me sad, and it actually heightens the concern that I have for the longevity of private not-for-profits with the enrollment curve. And I'm wondering what can be done about that.
And I know you said maybe your topic could be considered morbid or pessimistic.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a good service because, and we could go on all day. There are too many governing boards uh, and leadership who have their heads in the sand.
yeah.
And this should be board education 101 if you're a part of leadership or on a board of trustees of a small institution.
It is a big issue that there's a lot of schools, and I was listening to it on your podcast specifically about some universities not being willing to accept credits. And I think it was Dr. Ramaswamy's daughter who went to K-State, and NYU was so great about accepting those
Right.
credits. And a lot of universities will see that there's a lot of downside to that. It's like, no, like we can make a little bit more money off you
Right.
if you retake that college algebra again.
I mean, there's 40 million Americans, some college, no degree.
Yeah.
So that likely that's the impact of that kind of thing. Someone less resilient,
Well,
they just forget it, right? And they drop out.
yeah.
This is population change.
Yeah, so what we did is through the U.S. Census, we took the population for 15 and 19-year-olds, which is the age that we're really concerned about in higher education. And we did a forecast of what it should look like in 2028. And from that, there was the WICHE report knocking on college doors that predicted that in 2028, we should see a 6% decrease in populations. And this shows what the predicted population decline will be for each state. But as you can see in the upper Midwest, there's actually some states that are looking to have an increase in net population, which could be an opportunity, but you also see on the eastern side that their current enrollment issues are going to be heightened because there's going to be a significant drop in population for that very specific age group. And I I don't know. Does this, as somebody who leads in the higher education space, and you're looking at everything. I mean, I've followed a little bit of what you've done, a lot of what you've done. Does this change any strategies for you? Is this something that you look at as important, or I mean, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. So, and I will respectfully challenge one statement you made, which is that 15 to 19 is the age group we're interested in. It's a segment. So the majority of undergraduate students in the United States today do not live on a campus.
Mm-hmm.
They're 25 years old and they are working or have family responsibilities. In our 6 institutions, the modal student is a 35-year-old working woman. And we're mostly in the graduate space. I go back to this. So this is concerning, absolutely. And I was in a finance committee for one of our colleges where we were talking about this. And there's this big segment of 40 million students, presumably much older, that have not completed a degree and that traditional higher ed has not been focused on, to both parties' detriment, probably to the detriment of the colleges
Mm-hmm.
that have not been willing to adjust, and certainly to the detriment of all the students we've left aside. Where are you seeing the projected growth?
Specifically, upper Midwest, we're looking at Utah, we're looking at North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming, and some modest increases in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, So, I mean, a number of years ago, for example, our Chicago school, first university in our system, opened a Dallas campus. Recently just moved it to Plano. You certainly want to go where the people are if you can. Now, some places are place bound.
Mhm.
And again, that said, uh, what are institutions doing with online and hybrid formats, which is increasingly what the broad market is interested in.
Like that.
I really want to thank Dr. Michael Horowitz for his time and his valuable information that he has shared with us and his insight onto the impending enrollment cliff in the university death pool, and kind of just working aside with him, someone who has, I guess, the same values and cares about the same things that we do, and trying to figure out how we can solve or avert this crisis that we are in.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure everybody refer everybody to his podcast, Radical Cooperation, and his book that is available wherever you buy books. But
All
Amazon
the places
for sure.
that books have. Yeah.
Books.
Amazon for
The
sure.
bookstore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
You know, originally there's a lot of math that goes into the rankings, and originally I thought it'd be funny to have William kind of go off and talk about the math, and we can kind of make fun of him a little bit.
What?
And because it is extraordinarily nerdy, very accurate, and I guess it's got to be nerdy in order to be accurate, right?
Yeah.
Guys?
Do we count on it being right, the math?
Well, we have to. I mean, because the
Yeah.
stakes are high. We just don't want to.
I got no one else to check me. So. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I was just thinking of it.
but one of the things that we found out is all the different layers of math that William has used in order to make these rankings. When you go by afterwards and you look at them, they're valid for a couple of reasons. First off, they pass the sniff test. Harvard is in the top, what you'd expect. You see all those people floating on the top that you know are healthy. But secondly, on the bottom of the list, the ones that we predict that are in trouble have been closing.
Yeah.
So you want to go into a little bit of the math without killing me? Can you do that?
So maybe sum up the math.
Oh, now we're getting into dangerous territory.
Just in layman's terms.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Who's that?
especially if like a layman is like a 4-year-old.
You know those books where it says for dummies? Yeah, we need the University Death Pool math for dummies.
Yeah, yeah.
So as a math savant,
Yeah.
do you feel comfortable that the calculations are adequately reflecting the health of these universities?
I do. I would hope so. No. I mean the way the numbers are run right now.
Yeah.
It's going off the most recent data that we've pulled, and it's updating. Continuously. So now
Continuously. So it's constantly like
it's
you have a supercomputer running in the
weekly.
background, or what?
No, they're too expensive.
We're the supercomputer.
Yeah.
I got SQL queries running in the background, so I got. But no. I
But
mean,
it is
it's
constantly looking for updated information, right, and calculating.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay.
So, yeah. No, it's
Thank you.
using new data. It's looking at all the data, making predictions on how things are going to change through projections and all that.
Mhm.
So no, I mean I do. I believe it's pretty accurate. As we get more data, the more accurate it's always going to be.
Yeah.
So
we have more data points in order to establish a
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think right now is, especially as we've gotten like more data, this is the most accurate data set we've had for a bit now. So
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys trust his math?
I guess I'm just wondering, like, can you talk about how and why we got to using like 3 different points of data instead of just using like this? What was used before? CFI?
Just like the financial,
was
the
this-
990s.
The CFI, and now we
Yeah.
have the ACFI. How does the new ACFI benefit individuals or different organizations more than the regular CFI did? I mean,
Right.
what's the difference? I mean, we saw people's, or I guess schools with a 3.0, right? The best number that you could get, and they're closing. So how does our ACFI kind of account for everything going on. I mean, we don't want to have a 3.0 close, otherwise we're just kind of like the original CFI, right?
Yeah.
It's remarkable because you just sounded really nerdy because nobody knows what a 3.0 is, do they? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Snaps for
look at that. Very good. So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
try.
if I can do my best to do what I do the best, which is to dumb things down, that what you're talking about, the CFI, the 3.0, that is like the score that you would get for the finances, like how how much money do they have. A 3.0 is like, oh, they've got so much money that they can build a new building from their coffee fund. They're just swimming in it. It's filthy with money. But what we found out is those universities that are supposed to be filthy with money on paper are closing. And so that's why we have uh, no trust that it's an accurate measure, right? And so at that point, we figured out and we did what we called a little bit of a post-mortem or an autopsy. We looked at those universities that closed and we're like, what, why did you close? What are your characteristics? And we cloned them in our model, which goes into the math that William does. And now we're able to predict with pretty good reliability who is in trouble and who is definitely not in trouble.
And going back to what Lydia said, the reason why we're using the three main variables, the academics, efficiency, market saturation, and ACFI, is because whenever we were looking at closing universities, we saw that those three were the main ones that were causing closures. Either there was too many students in a certain area or too little students, pardon, in a
Low
certain
class
area.
sizes, is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that they couldn't actually support the amount of students they needed to actually uphold their university. Uh, that or there's a ton of universities around, and there's not enough students able to fulfill all the universities. We see that a lot we see that in some big cities. They have a lot of universities, and even then they still don't have enough students coming in.
So it's complicated, but doesn't
Yeah.
it come down to three main things? That it's too little money, too few students, or too many competitors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just measured it with the data that they report to the government because they have to.
Yeah.
I know Will talked about how every year, I guess, we're going to be, I guess, have a better outcome. We're going to be more, I guess, how would you word it, right? So every year we get more data points. We're going to be,
I mean, it's gonna show a clearer image.
it's going to show a clear image. So if we look back into this year and last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't perfect, but is there any concern with the math or the data in those 2 years to where we project to the future where we have a clear image? Or, I mean, I guess ultimately, how much do you trust your math? You say we're going to have a clear image in the future, right?
Yeah.
But we can trust our math here where we say our projections during the bottom 25%, you should be concerned.
Yeah. I mean, is there gonna be movement? Yes. I mean, there nothing. It's a projection. I mean, it's not a set fact that these who are gonna close. I mean, but with that said, I mean, Harvard's number one right now, but it's not like they were 400 before. I mean, it's like things change, but it's not like they change. The people that are in the higher sections are going to be in the higher sections. The people that are projected to be closing are not doing great. I mean, will it be clear in the next following years with more data? Yeah, but I mean, it'll be even clear when something bad happens. But
I mean, let's be clear about it. There are universities that we predict could close that are going to be just fine, and there are universities that we think are going to be just fine that are going to close. Our The way that things will happen with more data points, and this is just math, is each and every year the will be more accurate. It's kind of like, have you guys ever seen like the first picture that we took of Mars, like decades ago? It's just this fuzzy blob.
like
It's
before
like,
I was born, man. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a
Took
fuzzy
a picture
blob.
of an orange cat.
But now, I'm trying to make a point. But now the picture of Mars is just like so crisp. It's just like you can see every little thing. on there, and that's the way that our model is going to be eventually.
Thank you, AI.
Hey, no. AI has its place. Everybody should, just not for students taking my tests.
That's fair.
Yeah, yeah. So exciting stuff. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm worried about higher ed, specifically private, not for profits. I think that right now the political climate is that there's just we've become opposed to funding higher education, and it makes me nervous because I see people saying that there's very little value in college, and I don't see it that way. As somebody who went to high school, and I was a mediocre high school student, and I'm like, well, what do I do after high school? I'm like, well, I'm going to go join the Marines, and I joined the Marines. I did that for 5 years, and I did that. I got out, and the only thing that I was qualified to do was stop bullets. That's what they taught me how to do, was to stop bullets and I'm like, how do I get out of this point where I can fully actualize what we do? Well, I went to college and I chose a private, not profit, and a faith-based university, and I did that because I wanted the small class sizes. I wanted to be able to talk to my instructors, and I see that. Um, I see universities are defunded, that grants are being taken away, and our international students, who are some of our favorite friends here at Friends, are being kind of uninvited. And I just see it changing more and more. And I just don't want it to change. I think once we lose these smaller universities in these smaller towns, that we start losing these smaller towns. And it's not good for our culture. So I hope that that turns around. I really do. Um, I don't know how you feel about it. Am I being too sentimental about this? Do you guys all want to take classes in the future where there's 250 of your closest friends in a composition class, or do you want the smaller class sizes?
I think we all came here, I mean, regardless if it was for sports, if it was for something extracurricularly based, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we like the small class sizes. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the group that we have here today. I
Yeah.
mean, we're kind of a finite group of individuals performing a particular task. If we wanted to go to a bigger university and do those things, have a classroom of 500 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could do that. But I think like one of the driving factors why we are all here was the small class size. I think actually being able to get with your professors and actually know them by their name, being able to talk to them, go to their office hours, was a huge driving factor in why we chose to be here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that teach in these universities that we're trying to protect are the people that really enjoy interfacing with you and being part of your major life events, your graduations, your marriages, whatever it is. We like to be part of that because we care about you. When you go to some of these large universities, which have a place and they do a great job, you kind of lose that connection, and I think it's important. I I and again, I know I harp on it a lot, but one of the things that brings me the most joy is being able to interface with students from different cultures and different beliefs and from different countries who speak a different language. And I want them always to feel invited, like they could be in our learning environment. There's some of our best people. I won't give names, but I'll just share a story. We all know a very tall, nice Norwegian.
Oh, this is true. We do know.
We
He
do know
was like
that
10 feet away
he's
from
Yes,
us.
right.
He is like
he's a
10
great
miles.
guy, and he is. This place would be less good if he weren't here. He just the other day, somebody needed him to hang a Christmas ornament that at his 6'6" size, he's the only person that can do it. So he hung it, and I looked at him and I'm like, that is the most gigantic Christmas elf I've ever seen in my life because he kind of looks like an elf. But those types, doesn't he look like
Checks
an elf?
out. No, that's
He's
right.
like a gigantic Christmas elf that got irradiated, and now he's huge.
He's like
But
Buddy the Elf.
Yeah,
in the
He is
present
paid off.
time.
This
right.
is true.
But those types of people, those types of things, you're talking about private not-for-profit universities that keep towns alive, that keep these type of I mean, this type of experience, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you, my friend.
No, you're all right.
What we're doing here right now, this is the only place that this exists is private not-for-profit universities.
Yeah.
Learning by doing. That whole thing that you're going to learn by somebody being in the front of an auditorium and reading you PowerPoint presentations that they got from a publisher. You don't learn. I've tried that. You don't learn at all. It's hard for you. And so this is how we can make a difference with these types of things.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
we should wrap it up.
Should wrap it up? No
We should wrap it up.
talking.
Wrap it up like a present.
Yeah,
It's true.
Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I mean, I'm not going to be here anymore,
I'm
so
not announcing that.
Well, so
Bye, bozos.
I'm not dying.
Find
I'm
me in
just leaving.
California.
this is our last podcast of 2025, and quite possibly I don't know if it'll be posted before the end of the year. But this is our last podcast with Lydia. She's graduating, moving on to bigger and better things,
Yeah, you
and she's a
butt.
big reason why we're here. She's been with us for a year. We love her. We miss her. She's going to do great things. But thank you for everything you've done, Lydia.
Thank you.
I don't know who's going to edit our videos anymore.
I know.
I don't
I
even
sure is only
know.
doing it.
You can send them to me and pay me to do it.
I'll
But,
give you.
I mean,
I'll give you.
Have you ever thought about how you could give back to the university?
No, actually.
Yeah, you're about to start getting a lot of that mail real quick.
Yeah,
It's true.
but
If I get a tuition reimbursement, I'll do some more work for you.
We can put your name in the podcast studio.
We'll give you a little plaque on the corner.
Nope, I don't need that either.
on the dark corner of the
Yeah.
wall.
So Lydia was here, and then
I'll
we'll be
just write
good.
my name in the studio.
Your name's like misspelled too.
But Lydia's a big reason
Backwards,
about why we're here, and we're going to miss her. She's going to do great things, but you're a big part of what we've done here. So thank you for everything.
Thank you. I mean, it's been an amazing opportunity. This is the first official podcast I've produced, and it's kind of what made me want to do it as a career. So hopefully that happens.
Yeah, you actually brought that up to me. You're like, I think it was we had that trip in Las Vegas, and I think that for the research, we presenting our research, and you're like, I think I want to do a podcast, and I'm like, I think I want to have you do a podcast. I think that would be great.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
glad
been
it
fun.
worked out.
I know
we've
it
been
worked.
learning,
It's
right?
working
like,
out.
Oh yeah, tons of stuff.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'll tell you what. This is like this. Yeah, I would never would have learned how to do this crap otherwise.
well, like, yeah, I mean, like our first podcast, you weren't super happy with it. You're like, oh, I don't like
No.
that one. We were all sitting on a box.
Yeah.
Now we
were.
have Temu furniture.
It's true.
Maybe we shouldn't announce that.
Sponsor us.
Now we have cut
No,
that
where's the
out.
premiere?
sorry,
Premiere sponsor us.
Premier Protein, you're on. Temu,
Yeah.
it's your time to shine.
All right, everybody. I think that's it.
That's a wrap.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, gang. Oh.